Well, Grand Rising, friends. This is Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman. I'm your host tonight, and welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living Wednesday night. We call it Midweek Oasis. And we're going to are having a fun time tonight. You are in for a treat. This is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. And most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, where we express science of mind principles and practices with the intention of these gatherings being what? Informal, intimate, and interactive. We follow the Center for Spiritual Living's global themes. And this year, as I greeted you, is a grand rising. That's our theme for 2024. For the month of October, which we're closing out pretty quickly, is power to the people, power to the people. And last Sunday, I spoke on power together, which our speakers tonight will delve more into and explore. Power together. We want to welcome anyone who's newly with us tonight or who will be watching the recording for the first time. And we welcome you to our beloved community. And we invite you to visit us online at www.oaklandcsl.org. And if you click on that I'm new icon that you'll see right there when you get there, and then look to the lower left-hand corner of that page, you can submit your email address and begin receiving our weekly e-newsletter called The Village News. And in there, you'll see the fun things that are happening at our Oakland CSL. A few housekeeping notes before we get started with the talks. We invite you to mute your own audio microphone during tonight's services so that it will make it a good transmission for the recording and for everyone else. And please stay tuned, if you will, till the end of the service to receive special and important announcements that you won't want to miss. So now's my opportunity to introduce our speakers. Tonight, we have two speakers tonight. Most times we have one speaker, but Spirit put it into my mind, power together, and this couple came to my spirit. They're both dear friends of mine. I've known them both for many years. We have Nancy Hester, who is on our board of trustees, and she is just so loving and generous with her time, her talents, her treasures. And she's creative. She's a wreath maker. And you'll see at the end of tonight that we have a silent auction that's going on, and she's offering a wreath class. You might want to bid on that because they're just beautiful. She does floral arrangements. I know she loves tinkering in the garden. She does crafts. She loves cooking, and she's even brought Rev some lunches when she comes up there. She helps out at the center, and she loves to explore her creativity. So I love that she's coming to speak with us tonight. And with her is a dear friend of mine for many years, Ron Marshall, who is a practitioner, a licensed practitioner at our sister community, Heart and Soul Center of Light, who is enjoying next month their 15-year anniversary. So we welcome Ron, who also likes tinkering in the garden. And he is, as I said in our pre-service gathering, smooth and cool as a cucumber. He's a beautiful presence. He's a techno whiz. Ron is on with technology, and he has some other tricks up his sleeve that maybe he will tell you about this evening. So we welcome tonight this power couple to talk about power together, Nancy Hester and Ron Marshall. As we do with any of our services at the Oakland Center, we always start with prayer and we end with prayer too. And tonight, Ron is going to do our opening prayer. So, Ron, after you do our prayer, then you and Nancy can take it away.
Thank you, Reverend Sunshine. So I invite us to gently allow our eyelids to close and bring our attention to our breath. Just noticing each inhale and each exhale. And more importantly, notice that as we are breathing, that we don't have to compel ourselves to breathe, we just do. This is evidence, our ever-present reminder that there is something greater which is breathing us. That there is a power and presence that is operating in, through, and as all things. That there is one life that is whole, perfect, and complete in every possible way. This life is the life of everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond. This life is one of joy and beauty and happiness, harmony, joy, abundance, wisdom, power, creativity. The list is endless, infinite, just like spirit is infinite. And we are all brilliant points of light on the vast continuum that is God. And it is from this place that I give thanks for and bless our time together this evening. I know that we are gathered here by divine appointment. It is no accident that this group is here, and right now. And so I know that our time together is well spent, already blessed and complete in the mind of God. I give thanks for Oakland Center being a place where we can gather in community and know that we are safe and sound and have the opportunity to share what is on our hearts and minds in this forum. I'm giving thanks for the power of community in that we are here together to bear witness and express what is on our minds and hearts. And for this, I give thanks. I give thanks for knowing that all is well, right where each and every one of us is. I give thanks for knowing that this time together is spent in the most meaningful, most transformative way. Grateful for this being so, I release this word to its perfect unfoldment through the activity of love and law. I know that it is done and done well because it is done in, through, and as the divine. And so I just step aside in consciousness. I say, thank you, Mother, Father, God. And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen. Amen. So thank you, Reverend Sunshine and Oakland Center for this wonderful opportunity for Nancy and I to be with you this evening and to experience actually a first for us. And that we are doing a presentation or we're just having a conversation. We're just going to be spending some time sharing about our relationship and about power together. And so as Reverend Sunshine said, my name is Ron Marshall. I'm a practitioner at Heart and Soul. And I am blessed to be more so blessed in this moment to be partner in life and in relationship with Nancy Karen Hester, who is to my left, your right. And in going through the preparation materials that Reverend Sunshine had shared with us when she invited us to do the talk, there was a question that resonated with us, and it had to do with diversity. And the question was, are we mindful of how we engage with different ideas, disagreements, and viewpoints? And the very first thing that came to both of us was that, they're talking about us. And so we decided to speak tonight to how we navigate and work through our differences so that we can be even more I guess effective is probably not the best word, but it's the word that's coming to mind right now, uh, in our relationship, both individually and collectively. And one of the first things that we realized was that our differences are to be honored as opportunities to utilize our power in a way that creates a space for open discussion, to be able to embrace different perspectives without judgment, and to make room for consensus building, finding commonality, even in the midst of our differences. And while we may be talking about Nancy and I's relationship, this applies to any relationship that we find ourselves in. Nancy and I come from very different family, environmental, relationship, and life experiences. I'm an only child. Nancy is number 2 of 7. Uh, she grew up in Brooklyn. She grew up in Berkeley. I grew up in Brooklyn. Only thing in common is they both start with B. Uh, when I first met my late wife, Wilma, Nancy was already married and raising a family. So just what else? Oh, Nancy's very high energy and active, and I'm a little more low key and methodical, as some folks have described me. I prefer the word contemplative. And the list goes on. But the important thing is that being mindful of our differences really supports the growth and expansion of our relationship. And again, in honoring honoring our differences, it opens the space to see what more we have in common, in addition to a love of nature, being of service, and all the things that Reverend Sunshine mentioned, loving, food and cooking and spending time together. And now enjoying putting on presentations together.
So our story of togetherness is very unique. So I'm going to give you a little trivia here. Ron's former wife was my best friend. We danced in the same social circle for many years and hung out frequently. And we're talking over a 15-year period. Several years went by after Wilma's passing before Ron asked me if we could date. The request and suggestion actually came from Wilma. And when he did ask me, my first question was, where's this coming from? She was my best friend. And he replied, I know. She's the one that told me to ask you. So this took on a whole new meaning because we were brought together by spirit. As Ron stated earlier, we come from different backgrounds and different environments. So now we're bringing together the experience of 2 totally different households coming together under one roof. And both of these individuals, him and I, are practicing the same principles. There are many times when things got in the way. Many, many times. It was my experience that I had to realize that we are now one, and there are still 2 driver's seats here. I knew when I was being testy, I also knew there had to be discussion surrounding those tough places that we go through every day, because now we're experiencing a new togetherness.
And so we started taking a look at what are, in addition to our differences, kind of what practices are important. And one of my things that brought me into this philosophy was its applicability to everyday life, and seeing how I could use this stuff, as we sometimes call it, to manifest a better life for myself and for those I come into contact with. Case in point, my relationship with Nancy. And so it was important that I practice mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, and sacred listening, so that and so that I and/we would be able to navigate through our differences in a way that supported the highest and best for both of us. And Nancy's going to share some examples of some of those differences and how we navigated our way through them.
So here's one recent example. We're in fall. There's leaves everywhere. They love to find their way up our walkway. So I was outside raking up the leaves in our walkway, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself because it just looks so much better. And I'm waiting for him to notice it. And he didn't. And I'm like, doesn't he see the walkway looks better and the leaves are gone? It's so nice and tidy. To me, it looked that way. So I asked him, why didn't you comment on the tidiness of the front yard? And what I came to know is just because we don't do things the same, it doesn't make him wrong. It just makes us different.
Yeah, there's that us is me in terms of different truth be told. And so there's some backstory with the leaves that Nancy wasn't aware of. And when I first moved in here, we had a tulip poplar right in the entryway, and it would drop leaves like crazy. I moved in May, and then around July, this thing started dropping leaves.
Tell them what that is, a tulip
Oh,
poplar.
well, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm getting to that part. And which was an annoyance to me because I had to, dispose of them, which was not, which was irritating because this is this new home. It's not supposed to happen, all that other stuff. Well, fast forward a year, and I noticed that there are flowers blooming on this tree, these beautiful neon lime green and orange flowers. And that kind of changed my perspective about the leaves, because it needed to have the leaves in order to get to the flowers. And so the act of clearing up the flowers, became more of a meditative and appreciative gratitude practice for me. And the other thing that came up for me when Nancy asked that question was, I grew up on the East Coast, and part of my enjoyment of fall was the fact that there were leaves all over the place, and I could just run through and kick them and stomp on them and turn them into little bits and pieces of leaves. So the entryway being filled with leaves, was fine with me, and on another level that I had actually forgotten about. And I, lesson here, I apologize for not noticing that it had been that they had not been cleared, and recognize that this was something that was important to Nancy. It may not be important to me, but it was important to her. And so just acknowledging, something that she had made an effort to do to have our home be more beautiful and appealing to people as they walk by or were coming to visit. Is to me is the appropriate thing to do. Which leads me to another aspect is, of differences is, how important is it? One of my, not trigger, but just something that would annoy me is with putting the silverware away out of the dishwasher. I would stack all the forks kind of nice and neat, and have those the dinner forks arranged together, salad forks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I noticed that when Nancy would unload the dishwasher, they were just all over the place, and I'd have to kind of pick my way through to find, what I was looking for. And this irritated me for a good little bit, and then I had finally had to ask myself, how important is it? Is it a deal breaker? And by deal breaker, I mean, does it conflict with any of my core values? Is it a preference? Or is this one of my unenforceable rules? And essentially, that's any rule that I create that I don't have the power to enforce. And especially when dealing with another human being, which we know Nancy is a very beautiful one, I have no power to control. And so I had to essentially, get over myself. And hold just a second. Yeah, and taking a look at the big picture in terms of in terms of our relationship, just how important it really is. And a lot of this stuff, I remember Les Brown used to say, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff. And this was a very small thing compared to the larger scope of our relationship and what's important to both of us in it. And so now, when I unload the dishwasher, I still continue to stack everything in order nice and neat the way I like it. However, when Nancy unloads, actually, what that made room for is the times when she does stack them nice and neat. And appreciate that. Or I have an opportunity for an adventure, to find the fork or utensil. So I made a game out of it. One of the things that I just talked about irritations. There are also, some folks call them triggers, and when those things happen, I have to remind myself that I'm never angry or upset for the reason that I think I am. And this is a teaching that I gained through A Course in Miracles, and it is a lifesaver for me because it seems that whenever there is a situation or a trigger in my life, there's something from the course that pops up. In particular, when I'm upset, I know to ask myself, what's going on. And actually, in Reverend Sunshine's talk on Sunday, she provided an acronym or formula that we could use when this happened. It actually dovetails perfectly with the process that I use, and the acronym was NAAR. Notice, assess, adjust, align, reconnect. And when I realize that I'm upset about something and it's likely not the thing that triggered the upset, it gives me an opportunity to pause, to stop, and first notice that I'm upset, and then take a deeper look or assess the upset and ask myself, what's really going on? Is this a present day concern or a past fear concern playing it out in the present? Sometimes folks, we talk about looking at modern psychology and therapy, talk about having to go back, through your history to kind of get to the core of issues. And what I'm discovering through this philosophy that very more often than not, whatever issues that I may have had speaking for myself, issues I may have had as a child, can play themselves out in current life. And so I don't have to go back. They're right in front of me. And so in assessing this, it gives me an opportunity. I can make an adjustment. I can allow that trigger to serve as a reminder to look and see what it is that I'm believing and whether it's true about Nancy and myself, Nancy or myself. I can then align myself with the spiritual principles that apply. Oneness, love, or just the plain truth that we're both spiritual beings having a human experience. Based upon and our responses and our behavior is based on our differences and how we grew up in our what we've experienced in life, and that gives me an opportunity to reconnect or respond from a place of love and listen to a place of love and be able to listen rather than gathering evidence to prove that she done me wrong.
So I would like to speak from a place that's been sensitive for me, and
Mhm.
that's getting my way in this relationship. How important is it for me to have my way? And rather than seeking the big picture resolution where everyone's happy, those who know me well, I tend to be particular about how I move through our living space. And of course, everyone should do it my way because it just makes sense, right? I had to realize, no, Nancy, it makes sense to you. It makes sense to you and only you. And I have to ask Ron if what I'm doing, then the way I'm doing it, is it rubbing you wrong? Bigger still, am I willing to change because this is the way I've always done it? And what I've learned is huge. What I've learned is we are in this love together and we need to start acting like it.
And what's at the core of this is a commitment to spiritual practice, principles and practices. Would not have been together for this for as long as we have and for going forward without having a spiritual core or center to rely on. And I know for myself, my practices they vary from depending upon what's happening. What I'm finding as I'm gotten older is spending more time being still and meditating and contemplating has become more important. That realizing that the answers are within that there is a knower, something within me that has all the answers to my question that can guide me. And so spending more time uh, uh, with spirit has become more and more important. It actually allows divine guidance to be revealed to me and through me. A daily gratitude practice, starting out the day with what I'm grateful for rather than what's not working or what Nancy didn't do and or what she did do, and really focusing on, what am I grateful for about her? I'm grateful that, she prepares my tea, sets my things set for my tea in the morning. I'm grateful for her creativity, grateful for her generosity, grateful for her commitment to being of service, rather than focusing on, the things that, her breaking of my unenforceable rules. Observing nature. We're blessed to live. We live in Hercules, and we're surrounded by trees and nature, and so taking time to just sit and observe what's going on outside my window is very grounding and has me refocus on the principles that make our relationship work. Watching the cycles in the garden. So is there those things that appear to be dying out, while there are other things that are beginning to bloom, and just marveling, being in awe at how the very same thing that is, this has me speaking right now is the very same thing, that causes our tomatoes to grow and has, the trees and leaves dancing in the wind. And prayer, actually first and foremost, listening to sacred music, affirmations, and when I'm in a place where I can't pray for myself, I have prayer partners who pray for me. And
So those are ways that Ron works through his practices. I use prayer, affirmations, and journaling, and they help me to support a shift in thinking, and it allows us to see the true expression of who we each are without judgment. And there's great freedom and power in that. With that said, the toughest place to practice any of this is in the moment of, or in the heat of. That's when it's time for us to take a step back and refer to the practice of what we know. And it's not always easy, because I'm sure everyone's experienced, well, I want to be right in this situation, and why doesn't he or she see things my way? But it does work. And if I want to stay in togetherness mode, I've learned that I have to include Ron in my processing.
And wanted to share some helpful spiritual resources that we use or apply as part of our relationship. And I mentioned earlier A Course in Miracles. And the Course in Miracles, it's a channel, for those who don't know, it's a channeled work, and its focus is on peace and us experiencing peace in our lifetime, and that we are all one. There's no separation between myself and anyone else. And to take a phrase from the Bible, no, we are our brother's keepers. That is one of the core focuses of the Course in that. The only way that we are going to achieve a world that works for everyone in peace in our world is if we do it together. We recognize that we are not separate. That there's no difference between myself. Inherent difference. There are life differences we were talking about before, but at the core of it, we're all spiritual beings. We're all living in the spiritual world, having a human experience. And it's when we recognize that and see that, there's more compassion and an opportunity to see ways that we can come together and create the type of world, manifest, or reveal the type of world that we want, world and relationships that we want to have. And I mentioned earlier my daily gratitude practice, and pretty much anything Ernest Holmes. The Science of Mind textbook, the daily reads, 365 Science of Mind, and 365 Days of Richer Living, which is what we are currently using as our daily read at Heart and Soul.
So those are Ron's ways of practicing his spirituality. A few of mine, I read Emmett Fox all around the year with Emmett Fox. It's a daily reading. It's a reminder, if you will, of the truth. And it's been a refocus for me. And most of the time, what I need to hear is based on a recent experience of what I've read. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. Another reference I use is from Iyanla Vanzant, One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. And of course, the affirmations and articles in the Science of Mind magazine. So in navigating through our differences, I want to say how much better of a person I've become, even in my old age, by practicing the principles of Science of Mind, by really honing in on our togetherness, because I have a partner who's very forgiving, consistently loving, patient, and always willing to try, then seeking the bigger picture resolution where we're both happy. I tend to be very particular about how I move through our living space. And of course, everyone should do it my way because it just makes sense, right? I had to realize, no, Nancy, it makes sense to you. And I'm able to ask Ron if what I'm doing and the way I'm doing it, does it rub you the wrong way? Bigger still, am I willing to change because this is the way I've always done it? What I've learned is we're still in this love together.
Mhm, mhm. So well, 20 minutes goes fast.
It does.
So just really quickly, just in closing, just wanted to tag back to how honoring our differences paves the way for recognizing and creating new commonalities. For me, it has really paved the way for a more loving and expansive relationship with Nancy, and open up more ways that we can express our power together. Again, ergo, this opportunity to present this talk this evening, it's an ongoing process, and I am very grateful to have Nancy as a partner and teacher.
And I want to close when years ago I found myself in a challenging situation. Reverend Margaret was the senior minister at that time. Some of you may remember her. That was back in the 80s. After sharing with her my experience and how challenging it was for me, Reverend Margaret made this suggestion. In every tough situation, there's a gift. I've never forgotten this. And in moving through this new togetherness that I continue to experience with Ron over the years, I find that I've had to bend, break, check myself, sometimes with resistance, stop and regroup.
Mhm.
We are better people
Mhm.
as a result of practicing our newly created togetherness.
Mhm.
And I find that it's carried over into other relationships I have, especially with family members. Now, you know, we can talk about that one for a long time. Our love has grown from you and me to we. So let me ask you, is it possible that you are or have experienced a tough situation and it turned out to be your blessing? This is truly our experience of now.
So I guess we're done. Um, thank you everyone for listening. It truly is an honor and privilege to be with you this evening and share our experience. And we'd like to open it for discussion. And with this question, and I will pop it in the chat here in a moment. How do you engage with different ideas, disagreements, and viewpoints in your relationships, or anything else related to power together?
Well, before we, I'm going to chime in here before we answer that, but I do want you to put it in the chat, Ron, and we'll take a few responses. Let's give some, please come off, bring your cameras back on. Let's give some snaps and claps and emojis and hearts and all that good stuff to Ron and Nancy for such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful talk together. That was power together for sure. Look around the room, around the circle. Now, Ron, you can put your I did put in here what Nancy said. What is a tough situation that has turned out to be a blessing? And you said it differently. So put that in the chat. And then if there's
Boom.
anyone who wants to respond, you can use your raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Usually it's under the react button. And let's have some dialogue right quick. Ron has put in the question, how do you engage with different ideas, disagreements, and viewpoints in your relationships, or anything else related to power together? Come on, this is not a shy crowd. I know y'all thinking about it. Well, let me kick it off then and just say that I have, and I live out loud. So y'all hear from me all the time on the pulpit, and I use myself
I don't know.
as an example of how I practice spiritually because I know I have permission to use myself. And I continue to work through relationships. There's one in particular, a familial relationship, family, that is troublesome to me. And I find that I have to find courage to come to the conversation, which baffles me. I shut down some kind of a way and don't speak up like I normally would. And so it's interesting, but here's the blessing in it, Nancy, when I look at your question is it tells me something about me and what's going on within me and allows me to examine what my thoughts and my thinking about the thing is and check myself. Am I telling a story? Is it an old story? How do I get to adjust? Thank you, Ron, for using my NAAR formula. It's a lesson for me, and it helps me to be a better person, and maybe eventually helps me to come to the conversation that I need to have with the person. So anyway, we don't have a lot of time. No hands. I don't see any hands. Peter, if you see anybody's hand, please
Yeah, I'll let you know.
highlight it. Rev Ikea, I see your hand. Yes.
I just wanted to say how delightful it was to see both of you, Ron and Nancy, and to hear what you had to say, and just to appreciate what a lovable couple you are. And I'm so glad I know both of you separately, but it's great to see you together. And that's all I wanted to share.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you. Thank you,
That's
Reverend.
beautiful. Thank
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
so much, Rev Ikea. Anybody else?
Hello, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Okay, yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you now. Please identify yourself. Who are you?
Okay, I'm part of that family.
Oh.
I'm Victor. And I just want to use a term. It is what it is because it was what it was. And that is an ongoing reality in the stages of life. When you recognize that you have been there before and that it is what it is because it was what it was, how do you challenge that and bring it back to the here and now and get a new direction?
Mhm,
Mm,
mhm,
That's what we've had to do.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Victor.
Thanks, Victor.
Yeah, I remember talking to you on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eliza.
Go ahead. Eliza?
Oh, hi. Yes, this is Eliza on the phone here. And I love that. It is what it is because it was what it was. And that was reminding me of a time when I was with one of my siblings this summer. And, we're pretty close in age and we had our sibling rivalry and we still do sometimes. So we went swimming and afterwards we're in the car and this person is a master swimmer. Okay, they go and they teach other people how to swim. Anyway, in the car, they were sharing with me all different ways that I could swim better, more efficiently. And after a while, I said, I don't appreciate being lectured after swimming. I just enjoyed the swim, and I don't really want to hear about all the ways to do better at it. Well, and then about 4 hours later, they said to me, I don't appreciate being accused of lecturing. And so I had to assess, what was going on. And it definitely was, history, that was, old rivalries, just wanting to be right. And so I just was quiet because I couldn't think what to say. And I said, Spirit, guide me. And I just took a breath. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I made you feel like you were being lectured to. And That wasn't my intention, and I apologize. Next time, how about if I say something like, that's as much information as I can take in right now. And we talk more later. And there was a pause, and they said, yes, that would work for me. And so, you know, we went on with our vacation together, and we didn't have to be all grumpy around each other. But, you know, in the days when I don't take time to meditate in the morning, it doesn't always look like that. I find I also appreciated that you mentioned the Science of Mind, because I read the daily guides every day. I just love them. And then I'm just quiet and meditate for a while, and then I'm able to take the pause before I jump on somebody and try to be right. Okay, that's all. I'm complete.
Beautiful. Thank you, Liza. Do we have maybe time for one more? Maybe two. Andrea.
Hi. For some reason my hand, the hand thing isn't there. But I just wanted to share this, that I think in my later adulthood, I really value humbleness and appreciating that everyone comes with a vastness of their own experiences, and that when we meet and get to know each other, that just to respect that vastness, and it's a good thing to do. So.
I love that. I that is one of my favorite words, Andrea, is humble. And actually, I will reframe what I'm going to say if it needs to be appropriately said, humility, so that I can use humble. Somehow that just has it touches my heart differently. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. One more?
One more. The question that all resistance comes from is the question that lurks within all of us. Is it more important to be right?
Right.
Is it more important to be relevant? And
Oh.
once you think about the relevancy of whatever the situation is, it will point you in the right direction as to where you are. And the essential question is, do you want to be right, or do you want to be relevant? And your inner sensitivity will say that, like you and I met on Sunday, and it was very relevant that we were truthful and honest with each other.
Thank you.
Better preach, Victor.
Victor.
Pass the plate.
I like the other one too. As y'all can see, I try to put some notes in there of key things that were said, and Victor said, let me see if I can get it, is it is what it is because it was what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
I better use that. Somebody help me
That's
use
a
that again.
sermon.
Would you?
Yeah.
What it was.
I'm typing
There's-
it.
There you go. Beautiful. Okay, well, we're going to, Judith, is
Yeah,
that
very
Dr.
short.
Judith's hand?
Yeah, very short. There's another phrase that is like that phrase, which is that, would you rather be right or be happy? And it's taken me a long time to sort of decide, you know, through Science of Mind, that I would rather be happy. I don't have to be, there's so many situations where I can say, I don't need to be right here. And I'm very grateful for Science of Mind for that.
Yes, same here.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dr. Judith. And Ron and Nancy, y'all did a beautiful job
Thank
of
you.
integrating not only spiritual principles and practices and references, and from the science of mind and new thought. And that's, a commonality that we all have here. And so thank you again so much for answering the call and for saying yes. And I thank you, Spirit, for dropping it in and having me ask. And they said yes. Look at that conduit.
Yes,
Woo!
yes, yes,
It
yes.
worked out very
Yes,
well.
Yes, it did.
So thanks
It did.
again. And we are going to segue now into our goodies that we have to share with you, and some good things, fun things that are happening at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. So Peter is bringing up the slides, and there we go. This Sunday, you won't want to miss our Halloween costume Sunday, and the topic of that I'll be speaking to, power to create a world that works for everyone. So please don't miss it. Meditation is at 10 and service is followed by at 10:30. We'd love you there in person at 5000 Clairwood Drive in Oakland. And if you want to join us on live stream, we do that too, or recording afterwards if you can't come. And on next Wednesday, another dear friend of mine and many of ours, and she's coming back to Midweek Oasis, is Maud Wilson. Will come back and talk to us next Wednesday. Same time, same place as here, to talk about the power to create a world that works for everyone. So join us, meditation at 6:30 p.m. and services at 7 p.m. You can go to oaklandcsl.org and click on services to get the Zoom link, or remember how you got here today. Please join us in our daily practice of the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. It's a 40-day prosperity plan. We've been doing it for all of 2024 thus far, and we're going to continue until the very last day. Today, we're on the 17th day of the 8th round program, and we're using the 7th affirmation in the book. So feel free to follow along, and you can get some affirmations by going to oaklandcsl.org and clicking on events, and you'll see what we're studying. I mentioned already our Halloween costume Sunday, so please do come. Bring a dish. We're going to have potluck, and we're going to have a DJ and dancing. So we're celebrating life. We're celebrating the season and the reason for being alive. So please join us. And also, coming up soon, we have a beautiful weekend right before the election. So we're going to pray our way through to this election, right? Join us for a prayerful and contemplative weekend starting on Friday, November 1st at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have an evening of blessings that Oakland CSL is known for. So please come to a sacred candlelit ambiance and visit various practitioners for prayers of your choice. It's such a lovely experience. Then the very next day, on Saturday, November 2nd at 4 p.m., we have our Sound Waves of Love, a sound experience concert, which is contemplative and sacred, that will have gongs and percussion instruments, harp, singing bowls with the harp played by none other but then Destiny Mohammed, the gongs and percussion instruments by Ward Spangler, and the singing bowls by R. Lane Hairston. So please join us. You can purchase tickets at oaklandcsl.org. Click on events. We'd love to see you there. And I welcome anyone who is deaf or hard of hearing to come enjoy the vibration that this event will be sure to uphold and offer. Another election prayerful thing that we've been doing, we've joined this 100 Days of Mindful Practice started by Reverend Dr. David Alexander in Atlanta. And they're celebrating 45 years here coming up soon. We've been doing this from July 28th all the way through November 4th. It's not too late to join, to tune out fear and tune in vision, working from 10 somatic practices based on the book What It Takes to Heal by Prentice Hemphill. You can text join to 470-784-0250, what's on the screen there. And it's also on our website, I believe, to hear a daily inspirational audio message. Our OCSL Diversity Circle is proud to present an important program honoring a Holocaust survivor who will share her experience, followed by discussion on Friday, November 8th from 3:30 to 4:45 via Zoom. This program is in conjunction with the Jewish Family and Children's Services Holocaust Center of San Francisco. Visit oaklandcsl.org on the events page to join the conversation. We have a chair dedication campaign that continues. Create your own plate inscription that will go on the back of one of our chairs in the sanctuary of the social hall. We have 4 levels: platinum for $500 or 5 lines, gold for $200 or 4 lines, silver for $100 or 3 lines, bronze for 2 lines or $50. So include yourself, family, friends, ancestors, organizations in the dedication, or you can even share with other people to reduce the cost. So please participate with us and invite other people to participate. You can go to oaklandcsl.org on the events page to find out more and to place your order. I had mentioned that we have an online silent auction. I don't think I called it online, but it is online. And Nancy Hester is the organizer. She has a lovely team that she's assembled. We're running it through the 32 auctions platform. It started on October 4th and goes through October 29th. We have lovely items that you can bid on. So please, avail yourself to this. It's lots of fun for the community and you get lots of great gifts out of it. Again, go to oaklandcsl.org on the events page for more information. Our nonprofit partner for October is A Safe Place. And A Safe Place mission is to decrease domestic violence by providing victims and survivors and their children with a safe shelter and resources to break the cycle of violence through outreach and education to at-risk populations and diverse communities. A Safe Place protects thousands of families and individuals, often in the middle of the night, terrified and alone. Visit asafespace.org for more information. And we have this nonprofit partners program that we have been running for a while now, and we are accepting nominations for nonprofits to support in 2025. And the last day to do so is this Sunday, October 27th. And so we invite you to select, we select these based on the values, these agencies based on our values that are in alignment with Oakland Center's values. So we invite you to put in an application for your favorite nonprofit, and you can go to our website at oaklandcsl.org and select About Us, which is where you'll find the link for the nonprofit partners. We have Reverend Mitch Austin, who had visited our group earlier this year, coming back on November 10th to not only be our guest speaker while your Rev is on vacation, but he's also delivering a workshop after service called Empowered Communication for Spiritual People. So the registration will open soon. Mark your calendars, November 10th from 1 to 3:30 after service. Our Spirit Treasure Bookstore theme for October is Power to the People. We're also celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month from mid-September through mid-October. Rosh Hashanah was in early October, and we're celebrating the Day of the Dead that comes up next week, which coincides with Halloween. So visit our Spirit Treasure bookstore while you're there at the center. You can also visit CSL.org, which is our parent organization, to see what's happening around the globe in Centers for Spiritual Living. And of course, once again, OaklandCSL.org. You can sign up for our newsletter there if you're not already on it. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook and like us when you see us there. And last but not least, I want to highlight our contact team. And you can see these beautiful people who support. These are just a handful of people. We have many leaders at Oakland CSL that need to be acknowledged, but these folks can get you to those folks if you need to. Here shown, you see Beth Van Arkel, who's the president of our board. Susan Brecker is our facilities use coordinator. Steve Carter is our operations coordinator. Alice Knudsen, who's also on this AV team for Oasis, is our Ministry of Prayer coordinator. And then Dow Becker is our bookkeeper. So we give thanks to them. As we like to, as we prepare to close, I know we're a little over, so hang in there for the closing prayer, but we'd be remiss if we didn't give thanks. As Ron had mentioned, that we have this gratitude practice and joyful giving. So we want to encourage you to give to Oakland Center for Spiritual Living in the way time, talent, treasure. And we have many ways that you can give to Oakland CSL, which we'll show you in a moment. But you can keep on mute. We can say this affirmation together. You can put your hand over your heart and know that you give comes back to you. So let us say together that joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. It's the law of circulation. And so it is. And the ways that you can give to our center, which are so important, when you go to oaklandcsl.org, there's a donate button. You click that donate button and it will take you to this page that shows you how you can give by card. You can mail in your contribution by the mail. You can give by Zelle. You can text to give to this number, 510-327-3431. You can snap this QR code that will take you to the donate page, or when you're at service, you can give through the basket. We love that too. And so now it's time for thanks. I just love to give thanks. Ron, I appreciate the gratitude practice too. I want to thank our AV team, Peter Gum up in Oregon. We have Alice Squared, Alice Knudsen, Alice Herndon on our team. Our co-hosts are Judith Roberts, practitioner, who I'm filling in for tonight. And I think she was on here a little earlier, if not still, and also Reverend Allie Hutchinson. And we want to thank Steve Carter, our ops coordinator, for what he does to put this together. Peggy Cotton, who leads up the AV team. We have so much to give thanks for. We thank all of you for coming. And so as we wrap this up, we don't want to leave without prayer. So we're going to turn it over. We want to thank Nancy and Ron once again for such a delightful talk. I can't wait to watch it again. It was recorded. Y'all should watch it too on our YouTube channel. So Ron, we're going to turn it over to you for you to close us in prayer. Would you do that, please?
It is my absolute honor. And again, thank you so much for the
Yes.
invitation just thank you. And it is with a heart filled with gratitude that I give thanks. I give thanks for the presence of the divine in, through, and as each and every person present this evening, those unable to be with us, knowing that while they may not have been here physically, they are with us in consciousness. and giving thanks for all that has been revealed, the opportunity to connect and share and be in this container of power together this evening. And so I know as we move from this portion of our day to the next, that if we are traveling, we arrive safe and sound. If we are just staying put right where we are, we know that we are surrounded by the love and presence of the divine this day and always. And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen. Amen.
And so it is. Please come off mute and give some, love.